Hi, Frank Zanka here. I wanted to begin by thanking the people from WonderCon. It was a great convention, and Destiny Aurora did very well. If you're not familiar with Destiny Aurora, please look it up online. And I wanted to jump right into my review of Pacific Rim Uprising. And let's just start with the acting. So I thought overall the acting was superior than the original. Charlie Hunnam, though I love him in Sons of Anarchy, he's a kind of a one-tone actor. Even in King Arthur, it was a little bit one tone. On the other side, I think John Boyega has he has a lot more charisma. Of course, I like him in the Star Wars movies, even though in the latest movie, Last Jedi, that he was kind of wasted. But here, I think he really took charge, and he was a leading man, even more so than Scott Eastwood was. And I thought the two of them together had some good chemistry. I'm still on the fence on Scott Eastwood. I've seen him in several films now, including Suicide Squad, but I'm not sure how much range he has as an actor, where John Boyega obviously has a lot of range. He is, it's just his accent alone. He tried to match Idris Elba's accent to an extent, because obviously it was his son in the new movie. So I thought overall the acting was good, although they did bring back Rinko, I'm sure I'm going to mess this name up, Kikuchi, and she played Mako Mori. She was also in the first movie, and her acting is, I don't think her acting is very strong. She has had other films where, like 47 Ronin, where she didn't have much voice acting. She has a great look, but her voice acting is not that great. I thought that also they brought in Tian Jing from The Great Wall. I really loved her in Great Wall. Thought that she was one of the highlights of that film, and here she does a good job too, especially when she has such a great arc. I think that's also why I like this film better than the original, is that all of the characters had an arc that paid off. So I did like that in the film, and obviously you just heard that. I liked it a little bit better. I thought they were pretty much along the same line. So if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. If you didn't like the first one, chances are you're not going to like this one, because it's pretty much along the same lines. And I don't think this one went out of the box or anything like that, where this film is completely different than the first. I think they locked down a lot more stuff than they did in the first one, but overall, I think they're like on par. As far as the film, it's just that this one's a little bit better because of the acting. This one's a little better because of the story arcs for the characters. As far as that's concerned, I'm going to do some spoilers a little later on, so this one I'll just be talking about stuff from the trailer. Because I also want to get into the storyline, because some of the story plot lines negated the first film, and so I want to go into that too during the spoiler section. I know a lot of people were very excited about the robot versus robot battles in this, because that was not in the first film, and I liked that too. I thought that was pretty strong, especially with the reveal, and of course the reveal goes into the storyline that doesn't quite fit. But Charlie Day and Bern Gorman come back as Newton and Herman, and they're really good. I like their chemistry together, and again, they have their own little story arcs, and they're very charismatic and energetic, and they bring some of that to the film, where it's, you know, a lot of it's just CG. The robots themselves, I wish we had seen a little bit more of them, because we get to see the main robot, I think it's Gypsy Danger, but we don't get to see some of the others as much. And again, I'll go into the spoilers there, but the one, the red robot, I wish I remembered the name of it. But I like that one a lot, because that was like the jiu-jitsu, you know, kung fu robot. They were able to do some fighting stuff with that robot that they didn't do in any of the others, or with any of the others. But overall, I'm just going to kind of wrap up real quick. Again, I think if I was going to rate this film on a scale of 1 to 10, I would put it more around a 7. I think it was an above average film. It wasn't an awful film by any stretch of the word, but it had, I think that it needed to go a little further, and maybe it's the genre that's locked, because they're, you know, it's kaijus versus the Jaegers. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to, with, you know, storylines for humans thrown in. So maybe it's the genre that's kind of locked it into this monotone sequence. But I could tell you this, that it has a lot more memorable scenes than any of the Transformer movies. I love watching Transformer movies. When I'm in the theater and I walk out, I'm like, I don't even remember any of it. So it's this one had a lot more memorable stuff in it than any of the Transformer films. So I don't know if that's saying anything. But again, I like this, but it's not a movie that I'm saying is great. It's definitely not, and it has a lot of plot holes. And we're going to go into the spoilers right now. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so now I just wanted to go into spoilers. So let's just jump right into spoilers. And I'm not going to talk too much about every piece of the movie. You know, so the storyline is that now there's been peace, because all of the areas that the kaiju were jumping out of and using to transmute themselves into Earth have been closed for years. So, you know, they're keeping up airs with the Jaeger program and stuff like that. They're doing the recruits, but, you know, for the most part, they've kind of dwindled out as far as anything they thought was, you know, threats coming and things like that aren't happening anymore. So now that they have all these recruits, they need teachers. So John Boyega was a Jaeger driver and a pilot, and is no longer. He's kind of on the outs, and you really understand completely why. So especially when he has such a legacy, which maybe is the thing that he didn't want to, you know, deal with that legacy of his father. And he runs into Amara, who's played by Kaylee Spaney, who is probably one of the highlights of the film. She did a great job. So he runs into her where she's making her own Jaeger, which was, I think that robot probably was the best robot in the whole thing, is this Scrapper, as that's the name of her Jaeger. So this thing can, you know, roll and balls and stuff like that. The whole beginning was great as far as that was concerned. My problem with it is, here is this little 5-foot girl, you know, with no muscle span or anything else, building this Jaeger in this warehouse. So she finds this warehouse that has power and everything like that, and she's built this thing from scratch. You know, there's one thing where in Transformers where where Marky Mark finds you know, Optimus Prime, and he's fixing him, you know, he's got little pieces that he's putting together or whatever else. But she was building this thing from scratch, and with huge pieces. I don't know. I didn't buy that. I wanted to buy it. I wanted to buy that this little girl could make this big robot, but it just didn't sit with me. Obviously, the end result, you know, she's the robot's great. She's great, and that whole beginning scene is awesome. But I just couldn't buy that she built this thing by herself. Also, so now we jump into the robot versus robot fight, and Charlie Day's character says that, you know, he tries to invite Herman over for dinner. He says, "Oh, you get to meet Alice, blah, blah, blah." So you think he's got this girl at home who's his wife or girlfriend or whatever. And then, of course, we get there and, you know, it's a kaiju brain or whatever it is that he had melded with in the first film to find out where, you know, how to seal the breach. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that that whole plot twist was interesting. So we find out that, you know, this other robot is being piloted by a kaiju, whatever, brain or alien of some sort. So I like that. So then, you know, all of the they get their butts kicked, and all of the cadets have to do the fighting now. And now the whole plot line is that the kaijus had to go to Mount Fuji and to try to create a cataclysmic event using the volcano. So all the kaijus blend together in this weird kind of Voltron way and make this big, huge kaiju that they can't beat alone. So it kicks everybody's butt, and then it marches over to Mount Fuji. So, after all the times that all of the other kaiju over the last decades or whatever else that they were coming through, none of them ever got close to Mount Fuji, or they could never track this before. I didn't buy that this was new information that they had never got before. And you know, of course, the kaiju was 3 times the size or 4 times the size, so it was able to get there where the others never did. Okay, again, very kind of a weak plot point, and it kind of, to me, it kind of negated the storyline from the first film, where they had no idea why these things were coming through. So here now we have this information that we never had before. Okay. And of course they have to, you know, suicide bomb the thing at the end. I thought that was kind of weak too. I thought there was other ways that they could have destroyed it, maybe using a little bit more ingenuity or science or whatever, instead of just dive bombing it. I do like that that Xiao, Tianjing's character, did have to step up, and here comes, you know, Scrapper again, kind of to save the day, and is kind of holding on for dear life, and then of course extracts them so that they can, that they don't die. So I did like the ending, and I didn't like the ending simultaneously. So I just didn't like the fact that they had to dive bomb this thing. That's the best they could come up with to destroy this thing. So again, overall, I thought it was a 7 because of these elements that were kind of loosely tied in. But anyway, that's my review of Pacific Rim Uprising. And again, if you're a fan of the first one, you're going to like this. It's a fun film. It's a popcorn film, and I recommend seeing it. But again, don't expect, you know, a high level of an intelligence type of film where you have to think about things. It's just a popcorn type film. Alright, until next time, see you soon. Frank Zanka signing out.